an emerging crisis among the youth in poor urban settlements. An estimated 32,000 new HIV infections occurred in the country in 2021, out of which 5,294 was among adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19 years old. This means on any single day, about 14 adolescents get infected with the virus, which is still ranked as the leading cause of death among adolescents globally.
And as the country records a decline in the prevalence rates among the general population, experts are concerned about the discrepancy in the prevalence rates, which have remained high in urban informal settlements, with infection rates among youth aged between 10 and 19 years at an all-time high. Serfine Achieng was in Mathare slums and filed the following report.
Mathare slums, the second largest informal settlement in Kenya after Kibra. Home to over 206,000 people, according to the 2019 National Housing and Population Census. The combination of poor infrastructure, a high population density, few resources and poor sanitation facilities has been further exacerbated by an emerging HIV crisis among the youth. Khadija Mohammed, not her real name, is 25 years and is HIV positive.
Since I was in 17 years, I engaged myself in early sex, thinking that it was love, yet it was not love, it was just a lust. And lust dragged me into HIV.
Khadija, however, did not immediately know that she had contracted the HIV virus, not until after a prolonged episode of an illness that prompted her to take a HIV test.
Started having some unfinished cough, night sweats, some rashes on me. It was really tough, but I didn't know that it was HIV.
She vividly remembers the exact words used to inform her about her test results that would change her life forever.
Msichana, sasa uko na ukimwi. Vile nilisink sasa nikajua bas. Hapa kumbe ni ukweli. Haikuwa rahisi, imekuwa tough.
A bitter pill to swallow for a 17-year-old, so bitter that she still hasn't gathered enough courage to open up to her parents about it almost 8 years later.
My biggest fear is that they will discriminate me, something which I fear most.
Because of the fear of being reprimanded, coupled with societal stigma, thousands of young people infected with the HIV virus, just like Khadija, continue to suffer in silence. Silence that is putting their peers at risk, as many get into relationships but fear disclosing their status to their partners.
It's not that they don't want to disclose. They fear that stigma that is awaiting them. If today, for instance, I have a partner who is HIV, whose HIV status I don't know, and yet I know mine. If I disclose my status, definitely this partner will go.
Another risk factor is the non-disclosure by parents whose children contracted HIV at infancy through mother-to-child transmission and grow to a sexually active age without knowing their status. We discovered the reality of this when we visited another section of Mathare and met Sharon, not her real name. She has lived with HIV for 22 years now, but only got to know about her status when she was an adolescent.
Vitu madhe, alikuwa anapeleka hosi, check up, but mi sijui anything. So ndio nikakuja, nikienda hosi, madaktari ananiuliza, unajua unameza dawa gani? So mi naambia ni Panadol. Kwa sababu hivyo nilikuwa naambiwa ni Panadol. Hadi nikaenda grow nayo.
Bila sasa amekuwa mkubwa, nilikuwa na stress mbaya. Nikaenda ward kwa sababu nataka kuansaidi mtoto. Amesha kuwa mkubwa. Juu ilikuwa sasa akikuwa mkubwa nilimpeleka lea. Mimi sikuwa nimetaka kumpeleka hospitali. Mwambie mtoto yangu mimi sitapeleka mtoto achukue dawa. Ataona ni kama nimemuua.
The time to have that difficult conversation, however, could only be postponed but not avoided.
Nikawacha tu wakati amemaliza 8. Nikamweka chini. Uliona bita tulikuwa tunapiga na baba yako ananipiga na tupa vitu engineer. Ilikuwa sababu ya hataki nimwambia kumgonjwa. Hiyo ililete hivyo. Mimi sikupatia ugonjwa mtoto yangu. Lakini alikuwa single upande. Akaniambia anataka kwenda kuongea na baba yake. Mbona alimpatia ugonjwa nikampatia ugonjwa. Nikamwambia hapana, tuache tukufe peke yetu.
Mimi nilikuwa na anga. Yaani kwa nikasirikile sana. Nikasema kama ni hivyo, Mathare angeniambia basi before nifike hapa. Mbona amenificha?
With trends indicating a decline in the median age of first sexual encounters and increased sexual activity among young people, this form of non-disclosure can only mean that many are spreading the virus to their peers without even knowing that they have it. The latest statistics by the National AIDS Control Council show that in 2021, an estimated 32,027 new HIV infections occurred in the country. Of this, 5,294 was among adolescents aged 10 to 19 years. This means that on any single day, about 14 adolescents get infected with the virus, which is still ranked as the leading cause of death among adolescents globally.
Young people are engaging into sex each and every day. Each and every day we have new infections. Each and every day a young person is engaging into early sex. Each and every day a parent is hiding the truth and the fact from the children.
Most of the time when I go to the community, if we are trying to do a sensitization, they'll always be against it, especially when you start talking about condoms. Yeah, some of the youths, they'll come and tell you, we don't want to use condoms because they are not sweet. Yes, so when you ask them, now, are you afraid of getting HIV? They're like, no, it's manageable.
Kenya has achieved great milestones in its target of ending AIDS by 2030. By the end of 2020, 95% of people living with HIV knew their status, of which 89% were on treatment, of which 94% had suppressed viral loads, making Kenya one of just 3 African countries that has met the first of the 95-95-95, which is the global target.
So this is where we're talking of treatment as prevention. So if you're able to get 95% of the people who are infected on treatment and 95% of those having complete viral load suppression, then that number, a huge number of people, will not be able to transmit the virus.
The global hope is to end the HIV and AIDS epidemic as a public health threat by the year 2030. The positive progress, however, cannot be said of the urban poor in the slums, where experts are concerned about a discrepancy in the prevalence rates, which has remained higher. In Mathare, for instance, it stands at 4.9%, which is higher than the national prevalence rate that stands at 4.3%.
We know the issues of poverty in such like areas where we have young people. They are not economically empowered. And because of lack of that empowerment, they end up getting into even what we call transactional sex, where a young girl sleeps with an old man for purposes of getting some resources. We also have issues even of the parents themselves. They are not economically empowered. We have had cases and challenges of parents using their adolescent girls as part of income. They generate some income.
First of all, it's just messaging, ensuring that people have the correct message on the multiple sexual partners, on protective sex and all that. But there are some factors that are very difficult to eliminate. For example, poverty. According to Dr. Kibe, HIV is among the 3 main challenges facing the youth, listed together with adolescent pregnancies and sexual and gender-based violence. The Ministry of Health is working with other stakeholders to eliminate this triple threat.
In one, we know can help us, the Nyubakumis, the village elders, the chiefs, all of them, we bring them on board. We give them the situation of their county and sub-county on matters to do with HIV, SGBV, and teenage pregnancies. Then we advocate to them why they need to take it seriously and be our advocates.
With a worrying trend indicating a surge in the HIV infection rates among young people, policies and intervention programs must urgently be tailored to focus on the unique needs of this high-risk population, considering the diverse backgrounds and the living circumstances of urban slum dwellers in HIV mitigation efforts is not an option but a necessity. Serfine Achieng from Mathare slums in Nairobi, Citizen TV.